The federal courtroom in Lower Manhattan was packed so tightly that even veteran reporters stopped typing when the clerk called the next witness. Every neck in the gallery craned toward the back, and then, gliding past the wooden rail with shoulders squared and eyes steady, appeared Usher Raymond IV, the man whose voice had sold 50 million records, now preparing to sell something far heavier, the weight of his silence. For 12 aching seconds, the only sound was the shuffle of his polished shoes. Then he raised his right hand, swore to tell the truth, and the oxygen seemed to leave the room. Long before platinum plaques and stadium lights, Usher was a 14-year-old kid from Chattanooga with a golden falsetto and no father figure. In 1993, L.A. Reid believed he'd found the perfect mentor, Sean Puff Daddy Combs, already a kingmaker inside Uptown Records. That summer, Usher boarded a one-way flight to New York with a single suitcase and a strict instruction from his mom: learn everything you can. What he learned first was vocabulary. Day one, Puffy nicknamed the penthouse Flavor Camp, a playful label for what insiders later admitted was a non-stop carousel of champagne breakfasts, R-rated house guests, and impromptu photo shoots that blurred into dawn. "You're here to watch grown men win," the mogul told him. Rules? Don't ask, don't film, don't mention tomorrow. Usher obeyed, at least at first. But memory snapshots burned themselves into his teenage brain. Masked visitors drifting through candlelight at 3 a.m., a Polaroid camera flashing as bodies shifted on suede couches, security guards who called him Youngblood while confiscating his pager for safekeeping. He would later testify that even then, he knew something felt wrong. Yet every time doubt surfaced, Puffy dazzled him with industry access, a cameo in a Biggie studio session, a ride in a stretched Lexus, a phone call to Quincy Jones. Those moments were oxygen for an ambitious kid, and survival meant inhaling them without complaint. In 1995, Usher's mentorship escalated to an all-expenses-paid trip to an unnamed Caribbean isle. Publicly, it was framed as a songwriting retreat. Privately, according to court filings, it was a 4-day bacchanal. No managers, no journalists, no exit route except the charter jet Diddy controlled. Usher told jurors the villa felt like a set from a thriller he never auditioned for. Locked doors, whispered roll calls, and a guest list that included teenage singers, Wall Street financiers, and at least one politician recognizable from C-SPAN. He said no hands restrained him, yet choice dissolved into the atmosphere. Compliance was the island's currency. When the jet finally roared back toward JFK, Usher pressed his face to the window, wondering which ocean wave still held the echo of his childhood. Back in New York, a new document awaited: a 5-album development deal stapled to a non-disclosure agreement. He was 16, fresh off braces, negotiating with lawyers triple his age. The NDA's fine print barred disclosure of private events, guest identities, visual recordings, or proprietary lifestyle experiences. It looked like another permission slip to a teenager desperate for studio time. He signed. That single signature would shadow him for 20 years. Each time a journalist edged toward sensitive territory, a bad boy lawyer reminded Usher of the clause. When Behind the Music producers pitched him a profile in 2009, a midnight phone call suggested his safety could not be guaranteed if he strayed off script. The pen, he discovered, can be heavier than manacles. One August evening, long after You Remind Me topped the charts, Usher accepted a private invitation to a hillside mansion supposedly owned by a European producer. Security confiscated every cell phone at the Iron Gate. Inside, lounge lighting glowed amber, and an aroma of sandalwood candles triggered a childhood déjà vu he couldn't place. Hours later, a locked door cracked open at Diddy's whisper. Usher glimpsed velvet drapes, a marble altar-like table, and men in domino masks observing rather than partaking, a scene too deliberate to dismiss as casual vice. "You still think this is about music," Diddy murmured. "When you're ready for the real power, that door stays open." Usher left before sunrise, a cold Los Angeles dawn settling over his conscience like frost. For a while, Usher bottled the memories and focused on hits. Confessions sold 8 million, after all. But fate handed him mentorship of another wonderkind, Justin Bieber, 15 and wide-eyed, eerily reminiscent of himself. When Diddy started inviting Bieber to Flavor Camp 2.0, alarms screamed in Usher's head. An old clip resurfaced where Diddy bragged about spending 48 hours with the teen and not being able to disclose what we're doing. Justin laughed nervously. The internet shrugged until the FBI raided Diddy's homes in 2024 on trafficking suspicions. Suddenly, that clip looked less like nostalgia and more like evidence. Usher tried warnings. He phoned Bieber's team, offered alternate lodging, and even threatened to go public. But the machine was louder, and soon Bieber grew distant, answering calls with a monotone, "I'm good, big bro," before disappearing for days. Court exhibits now unsealed reveal an accountant's spreadsheet showing $4.3 million in royalties Usher never received on his first 3 albums. Other Bad Boy alumni show similar gaps. Total, Carl Thomas, and even posthumous figures like Black Rob. Some negotiated settlements for pennies on the dollar, just to regain performance rights. One anecdote shook spectators. A backup singer who threatened to expose contract irregularities allegedly found his demo tapes shredded in a studio trash bin. He hasn't released music since 2014, and his social media went dark a year later. No confirmed foul play, just absence. Absence is often the cleanest erasure. By 2001, Usher's smiles on TRL masked panic attacks triggered by the mere scent of vanilla sandalwood candles. He quietly checked into a Northern California clinic under the alias Sam Ray. Doctors diagnosed PTSD rooted in prolonged sexualized exposure and coercive power dynamics, according to sealed therapeutic notes now submitted under protective order. He spent 5 days behind those hospital walls, longer in therapy afterward, and 2 decades deciding whether his chart success justified the silence it cost. His conclusion, delivered to the jury line by line, was simple. No hit record is worth a haunted mind. Fast forward to May 20th, 2025. Sean Combs sits at the defense table in the Thurgood Marshall Courthouse, charged with sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and interstate transportation for illicit purposes. Prosecutors weave a narrative of freak-offs, private, highly choreographed parties where consent blurred and drugs flowed. Cassie Ventura's 4-day testimony cracked the dam. Former assistants described travel kits stocked with prescription pills stamped with Barack Obama's face. A male escort connected the trial's shadows to a dead reality TV star. Now it is Usher's turn. He leans into the microphone and, for perhaps the first time since 1993, speaks without choreography. He recalls contracts that muzzled him, parties that rewired him, and a system that grooms talent as currency. Defense lawyers object. Hearsay, speculation, revenge. The judge overrules, stating the totality of circumstances merits the jury's ears. When the direct examination ends, the gallery remains silent. No closing argument flourish could match the raw math of a 46-year-old megastar telling the world that every platinum plaque in his hallway is shadowed by a penthouse memory he never asked to film. Outside, cable news crawls, wonder if Kid Cudi will testify next, if Beyoncé will submit a written statement, if the entire architecture of celebrity mentorship is about to crumble. What no headline can capture is the tremor that lingers in Usher's final words. I survived to sing another day. Some kids never sang again. If my testimony helps even one of them find their voice, let the whole tower fall. Cue the bailiff's command. All rise. The day's session adjourns, but a generation raised on hit singles and bright lights suddenly sees the stage from backstage and wonders what other songs were paid for in silence. Stay tuned. Tomorrow's witness could turn rumor into record.